Now, Will, I mentioned earlier in the show that Keir Starmer was strong on his island of strangers immigration comment, and I really do wish that our politicians would be so bold to say something like that here. But how has the immigration crackdown been received, and is he actually to be believed?
Danica, you say strong. I would say it was a strong speech by a weak man.
Mm.
This is a man who, again, for Australian viewers, there are some similarities with someone like Anthony Albanese, a mediocrity, someone who doesn't really have any solid beliefs other than just trying to attain power. He's been a multiculturalist. He's been an open borders advocate for pretty much his entire political career. But suddenly, after reform absolutely obliterated both the Conservatives and the Labor Party in last week's local council elections in the UK, he's finally read the tea leaves and recognised that immigration is the defining issue in United Kingdom politics, and it will be the defining issue going forward. People have had enough. I think in the last 5 to 10 years, I think people have been scared about being called a racist. I think the leftist hold on the institutions has basically cowed people into silence. But the sheer change in places like London, Birmingham, Leicester, people have had enough and they voted in that way. And he's finally seen that and he goes, I need to make a change quickly. So everything he said was right. But I don't think it will work for two reasons. Number one, because people are not stupid. They know that he doesn't really believe this stuff and Labor doesn't really believe this stuff. And number two, reform will go further and faster in terms of being able to say, we will really get to what they're going to call net zero migration, as in one person in, one person out. Whereas from what I've seen, what they're aiming for with Labor is probably still a number around 300,000 to 400,000 net immigrants, which is higher than what it was when the Brexit vote was made, which was a vote around immigration. So again, this is like comforting talk, but I don't think ultimately it will be politically advantageous for Keir Starmer because we know what this man really is.
Yeah, and I think you raise a good point because people actually believe Nigel Farage when he says we want to stop the boats, we need to cull migration, because that has been his entire platform for many, many years now. So there certainly is a big difference. Now, look, this is an interesting one, Will. The wife of a former Tory councillor has appealed her sentence after being jailed for tweeting set fire to all migrant hotels, among other things. Lucy Connolly made the comments after the Southport massacre last year. Will, this is just so wrong. Jailed over a tweet, for goodness sake.
Danica, there's an important addition to add to that line. And she said in that tweet, which she deleted 3 hours after she made it, I think, it was an awful tweet. It was morally awful. But she said, set fire to migrant hotels for all I care, which again takes it out of the realm of incitement, which is a very high bar, and puts it into the realm of, I would say, just incredibly morally offensive speech. But for that, she was put in jail for 31 months. This is a mother. This is someone who lost a young child. And I think she was actually triggered as a result of seeing the deaths of young girls in Southport, which led to that storm in the United Kingdom last year. But the thing which we need to remember in the United Kingdom and in Australia as well, I think in the United Kingdom, there is a particular offence under the Public Order Act for stirring up racial hatred. Everyone can agree that stirring up racial hatred is a unique moral wrong, but it should not be illegal. The path you go down when you start to try and criminalise speech in this way is a far darker path than the alternative. I think we've forgotten in the United Kingdom, just as we have in Australia with the hate speech laws that we've seen here, that we need to argue for free speech no matter how ugly it is, because the alternative is authoritarianism. And there are, unfortunately, in the United Kingdom, there aren't enough people who are arguing for that. And dare I say it, after the Liberal performance in the election in Australia, there aren't enough people who have the courage and who have the intellect to be able to argue for free speech on first principles in this country either.
Nope, you're right. They just dance around this topic amid everything else. Will Kingston, it's been really nice to chat with you. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening. Really appreciate it.